Let me turn to the second front line, internet freedom. Now, if I were here 10 years ago giving a speech, I'm not sure that would have been in my top 4 front lines. But look at what a difference a decade has made. Our commitment to internet freedom as a human rights issue intersects with our interest in seeing emerging powers rise in a way that tends towards sustainable economic growth and long-term stability. From China and Russia to emerging democratic powers like India, Brazil, and Indonesia. Part of what will determine the trajectory of those countries is how they choose to respond to the questions their own citizens are raising about what kind of future they want, about governance issues that affect their everyday lives like food safety or pollution, about how corruption undermines the public trust. So the United States believes that it is in the interest of all governments to respond to criticism, not repress it. I learned many years ago, being involved in politics, that as hard as it is, one must learn to take criticism seriously, but not personally. Figuring out what it is you are being told that maybe you could learn from. Not all criticism is legitimate. Some of it is motivated by less than noble reasons. But oftentimes your critic can turn out to be your best friend. A free and open debate about real issues presents governments with opportunities and ideas for reform, if they are willing to accept them. And those reforms, in turn, can help reinforce economic and political stability. Democratic countries have the institutions and processes to respond constructively to critics and then to adapt to a changing world. On the other hand, cracking down on critics who say something you don't like, and believe me, when you're in government, nearly every hour someone says something that you won't like. But cracking down on those critics starts a spiral. As governments violate their citizens' rights more and more, they face more and more criticism, and then more and more temptation to double down on the politics of repression. The only escape from this downward spiral is to stop violations and start reform. So internet freedom is central here because these days, the place where many discussions and debates are happening is online. The internet is the public space of the 21st century. As the internet has grown and as citizens turn to it to conduct important aspects of their lives, repressive governments have worked harder and harder to limit people's freedom online just as they do offline. They are scrubbing websites of facts or ideas that challenge their hold on power. They are censoring emails and rerouting web traffic. They're reading political blogs, then showing up at the homes of bloggers and arresting them. They're monitoring the emails of political dissidents in order to track their movements and identify their associates. The rights of individuals to express their views, petition their leaders, freely associate with others are universal, whether they are exercised on a university campus or a university's Facebook page. Freedom is freedom, online or off. Now, some emerging powers have sought to use the advent of the internet as an excuse to ignore or revise established international standards. But the arrival of new technologies does not change each person's entitlement to that person's human rights. We need to protect human rights online and hold governments accountable when they violate those rights, just as we should seek to hold violators accountable in the offline world. Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is 64 years old, but it seems remarkably prophetic in protecting the right to, and I quote, seek, receive, and impart information by any medium, regardless of frontiers. So we are working in the State Department with the private sector, multilateral organizations, and civil society to expose abuses and reinforce that the same rights apply, offline as well as on. We're also supporting internet freedom from another angle by funding technologies, tools, and training to help digital activists who live and work in repressive environments. And we are investing in innovation because we know that governments on the other side of this fight are constantly improving their methods of oppression, and we intend to stay ahead of them. By the end of this year, the United States will have invested $100 million to help ensure that people in repressive internet environments